All right, so Kyle Kulinski, Secular Talk, he did a video on the whole situation of the U.S. pulling out of Syria. And, you know, me being a Syrian, I have to respond to it because there's some points he made in that video which, you know, I really disagree with. Now, I love Kyle, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, like, attack him or something. I watch Secular Talk religiously, okay? No pun intended. But I love Secular Talk. I love Kyle. I love all his takes, all his videos. But this is the only one where there were some points, man, I have to respond. Kyle, basically, he was arguing both viewpoints where he's like, we shouldn't be there in the first place, okay? And then he's like, but under certain circumstances, I do support the U.S. going in. And at first he said, we should do it through the UN, okay? But then he was like, we should poll the American people and get a vote through Congress. I mean, do you not realize that Syria is a sovereign, independent nation? I feel like everyone who's talking about this is departing from this viewpoint that Syria has no say about Syria. It's like, oh, screw that you're a sovereign, independent nation. No, we're going to decide what we do in your country. Where'd you get off with that? Where do you get off with this position? I thought you're an anti-imperialist. So what would it matter what the U.S. Congress votes to do in Syria? The U.S. Congress voted to invade Iraq. It was still an illegal war under international law. So how do you rationalize this? I'm pretty sure the million dead Iraqis still have a problem with the fact that Congress voted to invade Iraq. So you say, oh, we should get a vote through Congress to invade Syria. Man, who told you that people in Syria want you there? I'm so shocked, honestly, that this came out of Kyle's mouth. I'm really shocked that he would rationalize it like that. You know? I mean, you said in the beginning of the video, let it go through the UN, have UN peacekeepers do it. Sure, I agree with you. But not, oh, let's poll the American people. Man, I don't care what some dude in Texas thinks about what we should do in Syria. Do you accept someone in Syria to vote on whether the US should be invaded? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. And even if you say it's to protect the Kurds, dude, with your logic, Gambia or any other African nation should invade the United States given how black people are treated in the United States, okay? You see how this ethnic minority in the United States is shot at and jailed and unjustly and been enslaved for hundreds of years? You should be invaded by an African nation to make sure the blacks are safe. That's your logic, okay? It's the same logic. Honestly, man, I'm so shocked. Like, I don't understand where this has come from, Kyle. Now, look, that's not to say that there aren't criticisms as to how the Kurds have been treated by the Turks, by Iraq, by Syria. There's lots of criticisms, okay? I can't even get through them all. But again, this is a sovereign, independent nation. It doesn't matter what your Congress votes to do or what your population thinks they should do. It is not for you to say. You want to do something, you think you have a compelling argument, then you go to the UN and you plead your case. Although, as we saw Colin Powell, he went to the UN in 2002 and 2003 and lied about WMDs. He flat out lied. So, again, and even then, someone could make the argument that the UN is useless, right? Because if you look at Rwanda, you look at Kosovo, you can always make those arguments. There's always counter arguments, pros and cons. But again, man, this is what Kyle is saying, that, oh, we should poll the American people. Man, the American people can't even get healthcare passed. What the hell are they going to know about intervening in the Middle East? Again? And dude, the whole reason that ISIS exists is because of the power vacuum that resulted from invading Iraq. Okay, that's the only reason it exists. Now, you can bash Saddam all day long, and I'm there with you. But the reason that you have this situation today is because of Western imperialist intervention in the Middle East. So don't tell me that the solution to imperialism is more imperialism. No, you've done enough. Get out. That's it. Just get out. Just go. And honestly, this is not just an argument against U.S. intervention. It's also, what the hell is Turkey doing in there? They have no business being in there whatsoever. This reason of creating a buffer is just, Erdogan trying to complete his goals of recreating the Ottoman Empire. Everyone is just departing from this viewpoint again that, oh, Syria, it's like, yeah, we can just go in whenever we like. We can do whatever we like. Hello? Do you accept someone else to do that to you? I'm pretty sure Turkey would flip their shit if, I don't know, Cyprus invaded them or Greece. You know what I'm saying? No. This whole pretext, oh, we got to create a buffer. I mean, they're probably, again, they are using it probably to hurt the Kurds, of course. We're not going to pretend that there is no issue between Turkey and the Kurds. Yes, there is. But this whole rationale that, oh, okay, well, if it's not the U.S., then Turkey can go in. What? Again, this is really upsetting. This whole situation is very upsetting. Again, it feels like the Syrians themselves are left out of this conversation. The whole reason that this conflict exists is because of other countries meddling, fighting a proxy war in there. Okay? Saudi Arabia and Qatar funding jihadists, the US funding some jihadists and fighting others, and then Turkey trying to get in and be expansionist. Just everyone needs to get the hell out. That is the solution to expansionism, to imperialism. Get the hell out. Because this whole power vacuum and destabilization of the region is a result of the Iraq War, is a result of the US and the West constantly invading the Middle East. It's not going to be fixed by more of it. And honestly, say what you want about Trump. I mean, we criticize Trump all the time on this show. I'm not shy about criticizing Trump. But when he does something good, we have to call it out. And it is good that he's pulling troops out of Syria. They shouldn't be there in the first place. End of story. I don't care what your opinion is. That's a sovereign, independent nation. You shouldn't be there in the first place. You didn't get approval through Congress, which honestly isn't the most important point. And you didn't get approval through the UN. What the hell are you doing there? And, there's another thing that Kyle said about the Kurds being the most prominent fighting force in Syria. I mean, look, dude, I am not going to negate or try to diminish what the Kurds have done in fighting Daesh and fighting ISIS. But whether we like it or not, the Syrian army is the one that has done the most in the war because they're the largest belligerent of the war. So obviously, it's not like they can just sit this one out. Okay. Yes, the Kurds have done a lot in northern Syria. They've done a lot in the Hasakeh region. But one, they're trying to do this because they want to establish their own autonomous region. Okay. And two, all the oil fields are in northern Syria. So there's a huge economic incentive. Now, again, I'm not trying to diminish what they have done in combating ISIS. It's fine. It's great. But the number one fighting force is the Syrian army. Now, no one is defending Assad here. Okay. But this is just a question of facts of what the conflict has happened in the conflict. The Syrian army took back Aleppo, took back Idlib. The Syrian army is the one that's been fighting ISIS since the beginning. Before anyone decided to do airstrikes, before the Kurds got involved. Do you understand? I'm not taking sides here. This is just a question of history, of reflecting the record. It's like if I'm talking about the Battle of Waterloo, if I tell you the French got their asses kicked by the British in the Battle of Waterloo and the Dutch and everything, it doesn't mean I'm saying that because I like the Dutch and the British. I'm just saying that the French got their asses kicked by them. That's what happened. So sorry, Kyle, but you're really misinformed on this one. Look, I respect everything you do. I'm a huge fan, but man, when it comes to Syria, I mean, most of what you said is fine, but please, these are certain points here. I feel like you're contradicting yourself. You know that the U.S. has been funding jihadists in Syria. Why would you ever advocate for them to stay there under any circumstances? You know that the U.S. is an imperialist force. You are against that. You defend Tulsi Gabbard. We all like Tulsi Gabbard because she's anti-war, she's anti-imperialist. Why the hell would you take any kind of position where you see the U.S. in the Middle East? What can I say, man? I don't know if Kyle's going to see this video. Probably never will. But if you want to, please feel free to send him this video. I'd appreciate it. I'd feel honored if Kyle ever watched this, especially as a Syrian. But yeah, again, I'm not trying to attack Kyle. It's not even Kyle, right? There are other people on this planet who share that position. So this is not a question of attacking Kyle. It's just I'm focusing on one of the arguments that he made. So it's nothing about him. It's not even remotely personal. Okay. But yeah, I'm kind of sick of seeing the conversation depart from a point where Syria is not even concerned. It's like other nations deciding, oh, like we can just go in freely and do whatever we want. Like under whose authority? Who decided that? Do you think Turkey or the US would accept anyone else intervening within their borders? They would lose their goddamn shit. They would declare war in 1 second. So don't give me this reverse bullcrap that it's okay when it happens the other way around. No, it's not. This is an independent, sovereign nation. No one is defending the government there or Assad, but it is still a sovereign, independent nation. It's none of anyone's business. That's what they said about the Iraq war. We're going to liberate the Iraqi people. And look what happened. Million Iraqis dead. ISIS created. The whole region destabilized. We're still living in the aftermath of that conflict, which started 14, 15 years ago. It's unacceptable.